our work environment for the day. Looks pretty cozy, doesn't it? I'm going to use these empty oil containers for the antifreeze, and I'll try to recover as much of that as possible. So first we'll take off the grill, pull the radiator. Next is to take off these radiator supports, this one, that one, that one. Then we'll take off this plastic cover here. Then we'll undo our hose clamps, top and bottom, lift the radiator up and out. So now I'm going to undo the bottom, the lower and upper radiator hoses. Try to catch as much as of the radiator fluid as I can in these two jugs here. Now we have to take down the skid plate. Or maybe it's 15s up front and 12s underneath. And then we can get to the radiator. Automatic transmission fluid lines are disconnected. The antifreeze is drained. And I've pushed the fan shroud towards the engine as far as possible. So hopefully I can just lift this out now without causing too much damage. Okay, so this is our 3-core radiator. Still in good shape. Go ahead and break those fan bolts loose. This is a local Philippines market car. It has not been modified from right-hand drive to left-hand drive. We're going to first loosen up our accessories. We're going to loosen up the alternator, and then we'll loosen up the AC belt using the adjuster here. That's already loose, okay. $17mm. There it goes. Okay, so up there looks like about a 12, I would say. Oh yeah, there we go. No need for a hammer, just make sure it's loose enough. I'm just going to set the AC belt on the side of the AC compressor and the two other drive belts on the side of the AC alternator.
Cooling water tube.
Cooling what?
Water tube.
Water tube. Let's see what that is.
It's very expensive.
Yeah?
For this small.
Yeah, it's very hard to find.
That's why it's expensive.
There's not a lot of them available. And in fact, I'm going to copy this in stainless. So, okay, keep going. Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah, nice. Because mine is all rusted, and last time I went to the radiator shop, they did some bronze work. I think it was bronze or something, but I don't know how long it's going to hold, and I don't want this to be the thing that keeps me stuck on the side of the road sometime. So let me know if you want one of these in full stainless. Never have to worry about it again. Replace it once and it's good for life. I see the words water and pump. Okay, let's take a look at this thing. By golly, we're pretty close to having a functional Pajero again. Okay. Nice. Good. Beautiful. And the water pump too. We got some real rocket scientists sitting here. So I don't know if I've got enough room, but I'm going to try my best because I have to get this done. I don't really understand people like this, but anyway. It's not a lot of play, but while we're in there. So first I'm going to try to remove these 4 bolts holding the fan clutch on. And after that, I'm not sure how I get that pulley off. So grab your 12mm socket. Yeah, it's a little sticky. Just want to be real careful there. When I pull this off, I'm going to make sure that each of these bolts goes back in the original position. Oh. Well, yeah, it pops off, and I thought I had my coolant drained. That's very strange because there's no radiator. I've already turned the engine, and well, anyway, that is what it is, I guess. That's definitely not the reason why it overheats on the freeway. Over 110 kilometers an hour, it still gets pretty hot. I've got to take it easy, and there's no way I could ever expect to drive 120 or sometimes 120, but I have to come back and chill at 110, and then it'll cool down again. Now I'm also going to do an entire coolant system flush. That's going to be in the next video once I get all this stuff installed. Alright, boys and girls, here's a mistake to avoid. That's the wrong water pump. So this one does not have a pulley that unbolts. That pulley is mounted right onto the pulley drive shaft, whatever you want to call it. And yeah. So that's the wrong pump. It's the right on the back side. It would fit. I could bolt it on, but I wouldn't be able to get my pulley on there, that's for sure. That's what we need to see, is that pulley right there. Yeah, that pulley's an extra 1,200 pesos. Turn it around, see the other side. No, not that kind of. Okay, other way?
No, it's heavy.
Oops. Finally, I think I've got the correct water pump here. There's silicone all around here, and normally there's a seal right here which should be sufficient in keeping any leaks from occurring. Just going around the outside edge, make sure I get the gasket sealer silicone material off of there, off the outside edge. It's not so bad over there. I think mostly their leak was right about here. Alright, I've got the perimeter pretty clean there now. I'll go over it with the softer brush. Yeah, this surface here where the rubber seal meets looks pretty corroded actually. It's kind of so that's probably why they applied that. They didn't get a good seat there. Right here, there is a notch. Somebody hit it with something, or I don't know what, but there is a pretty good noticeable notch there. And it's got a line, so it's actually sort of a depression, plus it has a line through it. So kind of a strange situation there. I don't know how that happened, but now I understand why there's silicone there. It's probably as smooth as it's gonna get, but that just doesn't feel real good. So I just took a piece of angle iron, like so, and hooked it onto one of the bolt heads underneath. I don't know if you can see that or not, but anyway, I hook it on like that and push down. Hold it down at the end with my foot. Just check to see. Okay, that was loose, that was loose. Great, they're all loose now. Okay, it did work. All of these bolts are, these 4 bolts around 12 millimeter. And my clutch fan is fine because in rush hour traffic and the hottest temperatures with AC on, there's no problem with overheating. It's only on the freeway over 110 kilometers an hour that it gets hot. So that's still an issue I have to resolve, but for the moment I'm not going to replace this. Let's get these hand tight for now, and then I'll do the same angle iron trick. I don't think I want it much tighter than that actually, so good. I'm still waiting on my torque wrench, so for now I've just got to make the best of the situation, which is a pretty common theme here in the Philippines. I don't think that needs to be any tighter than that. Normally I wouldn't use gasket material for correcting a leak problem. I would find the problem and fix it, but in this case it's a dent and a scratch here at the block, so I really don't have any choice. So also, as I see water coming out here, I'm guessing maybe this bolt hole goes into a coolant channel. So I'm going to put a line of gasket material around this hole as well. So this is where my indentation is, so I'm going to be a little more generous there. And then I'm just going to go around this bottom bolt hole where I can see coolant coming out. I don't know if that's just sitting in there or if, but anyway, just to be sure, I'm just going to put a little dab around that bolt hole like that. Okay.
It's gonna be hard to remove it.
No, it comes off easy. That stuff's not, it's not really like a glue, it just keeps holes from happening.
You mean like if you just seal it?
Yeah. It's not gonna hold anything together, it's just to keep holes, keep leaks, yeah. So here I had wondered how I'm gonna keep this rubber gasket from falling as I mount it, but now that I'm using rubber sealer, gasket sealer, I've got that problem solved as well. So I'm just going to put a little bead around there as well. And I don't think it's completely crazy, my assumption that coolant is coming out of that bottom bolt hole there, because the bolt from that hole is the one that's corroded. All the others are not corroded. So I think I'm going to have to also put a bead of sealer around the underside of this bolt head before I tighten it up. I'm going to push the bolts in first so that they guide the way. Okay. I'll start with the finger tight. I'm going to turn the bolts as I apply. I've got a pretty good ring around there. I'm still waiting on my torque wrench. So until then, I'm just going to get these functionally tight, and then I'll check the torques when I get the wrench. As I tighten that bolt, there's actually coolant coming out. So that's not super encouraging. I'll just hope that when this is properly tight and with that sealant around the bolt shaft, hopefully that creates a good enough seal. Just walk it on. Yeah, that's a 17. Now I'll start off a bit loose, and then I will run the engine and the air compressor, the air conditioning compressor, and see if there's any squeak. In the last video where I mentioned the alternator, somebody mentioned that there should be 20 to 25 millimeters of depression from top to bottom, high to low. So I think that's probably maybe a bit tight, but I'm just going to run it there because those are going to loosen up as things get seated. So for now I'm going to leave it like that, and I'll readjust later. Let's get that fan shroud in. These bolts are, the fan bolts are 10 millimeter. Plenty good there. Now when you're trying to drop the radiator in, if your fan shroud is in the way at all, it can be a real annoyance. So I'm going to zip tie that out of the way, or I'm going to bungee it out of the way. These fan shrouds are super annoying. I can promise you that. I'm gonna have to remember that bungee cord trick. That's a good one. That just dropped right in.
Are you done?
No, but we're on the home stretch. So we've got everything basically back together. I just have to connect hoses automatic transmission cooling lines, and then I need to run the engine just for a few seconds to check the belt tensions, and then we should be able to go for a test drive.
Yay!
Yay! So we got a pretty good rain rolling in here, but I want to finish this job. So I took a pool umbrella and I'm going to finish up on this radiator here.